Welcome to the 3D Game Engine tutorial series. In this tutorial series we're going to cover the ins and outs of OpenGL and general 3D game programming. This series is based on the great tutorial series by Dance. While his tutorial is great, it doesn't really go that deep into OpenGL game development, and it's about a 2D game. We're making it about a 3D game. But the beginning is still very much the same, so we're going to use a lot of the stuff he uses. So first off, we need GLFW.net. GLFW takes away a lot of the work needed to create windows and stuff, which requires us to talk to the system API. With GLFW, we don't need to do that, and there's cross-platform support. Just go here and download the entire source code. We still need the actual GLFW binaries, so download the 64-bit binaries for Windows, as well as a GL wrapper for C#. Now right click and click on Save As, and remember to rename that file to something usable. So at the end, you should have three files: a GL file, the glfw.net repository, and the glfw binaries. So now you create a new Visual Studio project, create a console application, and name it something, and create that project. Now with the project created, we're going to right click on the project itself and click this blue button, Open Folder in File Explorer. So now we're going to create three folders. First off, we're going to create the GLFW folder, then open the glfw.net repository, go into it, search for a glfw.net folder, and here copy all files except the project files and throw that into the glfw folder in your project. Now create a OpenGL folder, like that, and copy the OpenGL file into there. And at last, we are going to create a bin dep folder. These are the binary dependencies. Open the GLFW binary folder and search for a folder called libvc2019. In here you will have a glfw3.dll file. Copy that into the bin dep folder. Now we just need to rename it to glfw, like that. And now we're going to right click on the project again, click on properties, and here go to build events. We're going to add a new post build event, so specifically this one here. Now post build event is just I believe a PowerShell command which will be executed after the build. We're going to execute xcopy, which will copy the contents of the file bin dep in our project directory, which is this one, to the target directory, which is the folder that our final binary will end at. At last, we'll add a few parameters. These are just to overwrite all files and ignore all errors. Now, in the last link we have here, we have the hello triangle.cs file. Just copy all the text and paste it into your program.cs file. Now you're going to get a few errors. Now we're going to get an error here. Unsafe code may only appear if compiling with /unsafe. Somewhat unclear. OpenGL, being a C library, means that it's naturally unsafe. It just means that there's a potential of memory corruption and memory leaks. It's not that big of a deal, I never had a problem with it, but it requires us to specify that our code is unsafe. You can hover over the error, show potential fixes, and just click this allow unsafe code in this project. You may get a simple conflict here, where there's two implementation of monitor. Here you can also just click on show potential fixes and click on glfw.monitor. So if you're done and you remember to rename the glfw DLL file, it should just work, giving you a beautiful window with a triangle that randomly changes color every few seconds. So you may be asking now, what the hell did we just put together, and what even is GLFW and OpenGL? So OpenGL stands for Open Graphics Library, which is quite funny because it isn't open source or something, and it is as it says in the name, a library that allows you to work with graphics, and allows you to work with the graphics card. Now, GLFW stands for Graphics Library Framework and is specifically made to make working with OpenGL more easy and cross-platform. That doesn't mean that you need GLFW to work with OpenGL. It just makes it a lot easier. What is important to remember is that we are not using GLFW. We are using GLFW.net, which are C# bindings. So a binding is quite simple. Here we have our code and a glfw.cs file. Both are in the C# world. If we were to call a method in the glfw.cs file, it would just forward that to the glfw.dll file, which contains all the glfw functions. Now, what does GLFW actually do for us? It creates the window for us. It can update and check OS events, and it can also do other things like handle input and stuff like that. One of the most important things it does is it gives us a way to actually include the OpenGL functions. What do I mean by that? Like with GLFW, if our code were to call a method in the gl.cs file, it would just forward that to a gl.dll file. The problem is, where is this DLL file? It doesn't exist near our binary, so where is it? Well, Windows owns one of them. Windows specifically owns the version 1.1, but we do not want the 1.1. We want the version 3.3 or later. So where is it? Well, quite simple. It's provided by the graphics drivers. Now, how does the gl.cs file know where the drivers gl.dll file is? Well, GLFW tells it. GLFW can ask the OS where the GL files are and point the gl.cs file to these locations. If we go check the code, you can actually see where this is happening. Exactly here. If we call glfw.get proc addresses, it gets the address of the specific GL version we are using, which we defined up here. And it imports these into the gl.cs file. So this is why we need GLFW, to get these specific methods. So there are ways you could get this without GLFW, but again, it would be far more work than needed. I hope this covers it. I hope you understand now why we use OpenGL and GLFW, how this all works together with C#. So in the next episode, we're going to rewrite a lot of what we have, make it a little cleaner, a little more usable. Thank you for watching, and I hope this helped you. If you have any question, you can just ask in the comment section. Thank you for watching.